Good morning. Hi. So this is a new app that my computer wizard guy showed me the other day that I actually have on my computer. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to reload the videos to my YouTube channel again, things I haven't done in a couple of years. So thank you for the people that responded and gave me ideas about what to chat about and what to talk about. I do appreciate that. Um, every single day, I can easily find a subject to talk about. I, my awareness is so alert and awake right now. It doesn't take much. But the one comment that, or the one suggestion that got some feedback more than the others was um, from a friend of mine named Lynn, and some other people dived in from it. Um, how many adult children are pulling away um, from their parents. Um, what's the word? Where is that? Estrangement. Estrangement. I never remember that word. Um, and she said she felt that, and she is a healer herself, and she said that she felt that it is in a critical state. I also know of people, of adults and parents whose children have estranged themselves from their family and from their parents. And I too am a parent whose child has chosen to shift our relationship. So before I begin that discussion, I just want you to remember that everything that I ever share comes from a spiritual awareness. It doesn't come from a linear awareness. And perhaps I will state that differentiation as I speak with you. If you are a parent who is listening to this and has a child who no longer wants to have a relationship with you, please know that I fully understand. Um, the thing about attempting to heal something or understand something from a human perspective, which to me means our mind and our intellect and our ego, we never quite find an answer, do we? We never quite can find an understanding. I can only use myself as an example there. Is I can look at why my son chose to shift our relationship. I can look at his upbringing. I can look at his father and I divorcing. I can look at the intensity of who he is. I can look at his lifelong desire for privacy. I can look at a lot of personality traits and experiences that he had, and then I could blame myself for them, hold myself responsible for them, or not. And I don't find that that path is soothing. I don't find that that path to understand why our adult children choose to no longer have a relationship with us, or at least the relationship that we desire to have, or we think we should have with them, is helpful. So I will begin there. Where I end up and where I live from is my son is an adult and he is allowed to make all the choices that he wants about his life. Number one. Number two is my son owes me nothing. Our children don't owe us anything. Number three, we each as souls come into this world with our own agenda and intentions. We are souls. Now, most of you people who are listening to this or are on my Amethyst Light Ministry Facebook page, or clients or friends or peers, which all of you are who are on here, live from there. if you live from there, you have to live daily from there. If you're going to embody spirit, embody God, if you're going to embody this spiritual life, then you've got to embody it 100%. So I come from this place of realizing that this soul chose me for his mother. Your children, as spirit, as soul, chose you as their parent for a purpose, for a reason. In my case, perhaps it was so he could be as independent as he needed to be in this lifetime. He's a highly successful person, but he's a highly private person. Where I go to not suffer from self-blame is, did I do the very best I could do in my life with him as his mother? Yes, I did. I have absolutely no doubt. I trust myself. I know that along the way, I did the best I could do in every situation and every time I showed up with him. Every conversation, every experience. Granted, I was very young. Granted, I was not spiritually awake. Granted, yeah, I mean, would I do things differently now? Yes, I would. Would I be a different parent now? Yes, I would. But that kind of hindsight doesn't help us be okay in the midst of our children. And I put quotes like that because I feel they're souls who chose to come to this earth plane through our bodies. They are souls. I believe we choose our parents. If I believe we choose our parents, and that's how I did healing with my parents, I believe we choose them. And so I have to take responsibility for that myself as a child. What did I learn by choosing them? And I hope someday my son will do the same thing. He will sit there and say to himself, what did I learn by choosing these people as my parents? I hold nothing but love for my son. I love him from afar every single moment of the day. Do we have any correspondence? Yes. What he did when he kind of broke up was he said that he would let us know when he moved and where he was living. And he does that. He has moved a couple of times since then, and he lets us know. And sometimes I will always respond back. And sometimes he responds back, but it's always within a framework that's a little stoic. So I think for some reason he feels safe in that framework. I got to give him that. I'm just grateful he lets me know where he's living. And sometimes we commune back and forth. But it's all in a very safe box, I know, for him. And that's what he needs to do. I think the most important thing we offer anybody in this life, whether it's our children, our parents, anybody, is you're choosing how to be, and you have to be okay with your own choices. If you're okay with your own choice, that's the most important thing to me. It is. Whether I am involved in his life or not, I want my child to be okay with his choices. I recognize him as a child of God. I recognize him as someone who came here to do work that I have no concept of, except in his case I do. I know he came here to clean up all his karma at once. And with that, he's had quite a ride. He has had quite a ride. He chose two parents that couldn't be more opposite to each other, which I'm sure gave him a sense of insecurity growing up. But this was his path. And the other thing about our spiritual path when we come to earth to be in these human forms is, I call it our hardwiring. What is our hardwiring? Our hardwiring, to me, I describe it as everything we came into under astrologically. Excuse me. Thank you. everything we came into astrologically. So what does that give us? It's astrologically, and it is about our past lives. We carry all that with us, don't we? I mean, we say we do. Can you recognize it with the children who no longer want to have a relationship with you or are changing the rules of your relationship? Can you allow them that? That I have no idea what that might be for him. And I adore him. My son is one of my very favorite people, if not my favorite person on this earth. He can get me to laugh like no one else can. And I really appreciate that. And he's brilliant. He's really brilliant and very successful in his field of endeavor. You know, he wants to be private, and he's private. Why is he private? Is he private because of something I did, or is he private because he came in hardwired like that? I really don't know. I think our need for privacy can sometimes be something that comes in astrologically. I've learned so much about my own self this year, and have come to a place of understanding about how my life has gone, how my path has gone, how people see me based on my astrology. It's really helped me to come to accepting of that. So with all that said, spiritually also goes the part that just because this person is your child doesn't mean he, she are going to agree with everything about you. It doesn't mean they're automatically going to like you. It doesn't mean, honestly, you're automatically going to like them. I have a teacher, many of you may know Abraham Hicks, and Esther, one of the groups I was at years ago, because I used to go frequently, she said once, you all put too much credit to the parents. You know, you make too big a deal about your parents and your family. Meaning that in our humanness, we expect to like each other. We expect our children are going to want to be with us, going to want to care about us, going to be influenced by how we brought them up. They might be influenced and they might not like it. And we can't take that personally. Don Miguel Ruiz, don't take anything personally. That includes with our children. That includes with our family. That includes everything. You know, all these spiritual rules and guidelines and beliefs and teachings that we study, they're meant to be for everyone. Spiritual law is about everyone. It's not only about the people that you can find it accepting with. It's not only about your little pod. It's about everyone, including our children and our family and our friends. You know, I only have one child. And I have a lot of adopted children. I think of many of the students who have come to me in the last 40 years as a form of my children. I've been able to guide them, and they love me and I love them. And yet, you know, one day I never hear from them again. They fly the coop. Okay. We know we are some influence to them. We know we are some influence to our birth children, to our adopted children, to the younger people who are in our lives as we are their elders. We know we're some influence on them, negative or positive, just like everything is our teacher. Everything is their teacher too. We must give them, I believe, through our faith in God and in spirit and in the way the divine has set up this human cocoon of earth. They can make their own choices, and I want them to make their own choices. You know, we We raise our children to be healthy, want them to find something positive to do in life that makes them happy, and we want them to be independent, right? Um, we want them to be able to know how to make a choice and how to believe in themselves and how to do the laundry and how to take care of their homes and how to make a path for themselves. And then sometimes when they go off and do that, parents are traumatized. In my case, sometimes I look back at how I was with my parents when I was 30, 35, 40, 45. Um, and I think I was a little more attentive only out of guilt, um, only out of that I had an overbearing mother. um, but I certainly didn't have that warm, fuzzy relationship with my parents either. It was a teaching relationship. It was a relationship that I came in here to have so I could become who I am today. So, Lynn, I'm sure you're listening to this. The language you used, I don't remember specifically, but you said something about it feels like an epidemic. And I just think that as we evolve as a collection, you know, um, as humanity expands its awareness and its consciousness, it makes for a really profound ring of fire for us to see what needs to be seen within ourselves, to heal that, to come in alignment with God. For me, it's always about coming into alignment with love. To me, that's the goal. I don't care what the question is. The answer is always God to me. I always is God. It's always about sitting down and finding out more about myself within me internally and how I feel and how I see this and why I see it this way and how can I shift that and come into a healthier alignment with myself, which is with God, with unconditional love. I guess there's nothing more to say because I can't remember what I started saying. Know that you're showing up the best you can in this situation that you're in. If you're in an estranged situation with an adult child, the women I know who have sons who are in estranged relationships with them, or their son is in an estranged relationship with them, are all very strong women. Perhaps maybe they chose us in order to be loving enough to allow them to do this. Who knows? But for me, I check myself at the door. I check myself at the beginning of writing anything or communing anything or thinking anything when it concerns my child. Because no matter how large, strong, and successful a man he is on this earth plane, he came to me to be mothered by me. So I am always checking myself that I am being as loving and accepting of his choices as I can be. And I hear someone saying, but they're not accepting of mine. Yeah, they may not be accepting of yours, but I don't know that that is their job. Mothering is different. Being here to love, to mother is loving unconditionally and saying, I'm here for you and I'll be here for you whenever you need me or want me. And you don't have to act a certain way to get that from me. You don't. You don't have to behave a certain way. You don't have to be clean and sober. You don't have to even like me. But when you want me, when you would like to speak with me, when you would like to show up at my door, I am here. That to me is the most important thing I can offer my son. And I hope it's the most important thing you can offer your children. Because life is tough right now. When we speak of that, we speak of the expansion that is happening, the world in such crises, the United States in such crises, the lack of common sense, the lack of integrity, the level of fear. It's difficult. And every single person, whether there are children or not, are doing their very best to try to maintain a sense of what makes sense to them and what makes them feel safe. And for me also, I know we don't die. And that will be coming up in the death and dying rant. But for now, I know that I'll see this soul who is my son again, and I know we've met before. And I know that what happens in this parentheses of time that we are in and sharing it is just that. It's a speck. It's a little speck. The love we have for one another is so much greater than that. It is my deepest hope that these words have and will help you in some way. Thank you for listening. Thank you for comments, and thank you for making suggestions as to topics that you would like me to share my thinking and my beliefs about. It is my intention that they support you in your ever expanding awareness and relationship with Holy Spirit. Bye-bye.